What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Fact versus Fiction. All right. God dang, that was loud. I'm so sorry. I'm your host, Jax. God dang it, I messed up the intro, but I'm in a good mood. I got some content for you guys today. All right, so first off, I would like to start by saying, hope you guys are having a wonderful day. All right, so at the time of this recording, I literally just dropped the video of Stevie and Abba having a debate about Charlie Kirk, about they were talking about kids starving and the schools, and Stevie even saying, he's not, kids in America don't starve, and Abba taking the other side of that and saying, actually, there are starving kids out here. There is programs for this and everything like that to combat it. So anyways, with that being said,
and I know that half of you are like,
I could care less. I could care less about
Stevie Knight. He has a titled video called "Damn, Is ABBA Fake?"
I cannot say that I saw this coming. ABBA ain't no stranger to doing the extra. So
okay, so I'm gonna just summarize this first point, but I'll link the video below so you guys can go watch it. For those of you who didn't watch the debate, consider yourselves lucky. Here's a recap.
I feel like it felt like I didn't feel like that. I feel like, do you feel like? I feel like I could care less about why you feel the way you feel. I'm not a fucking machine. They need to be controlled. They need to be decapitated to feel heard. I feel like everybody's gonna feel differently. There is emotion tied to it, bro. I'm a human being. Some children are born in fucked up circumstances, bro. It is what it is. So logically, it is what it is. Oh, that's cap.
That's cap? Did you Google it? Did you Google it? No.
All right. So if you guys can hear an ant noise, that's my neighbor. Sorry. That's my neighbor. You out there blowing whatever. Pause. All right. But yeah. So if you haven't seen the debate and if you haven't seen the video that I posted, I did say something along the lines of Abba had receipts. You can see, and I pointed it out in the video of, you can see that he was taking notes of certain things. And I said that it looks like Stevie is more going off the dome. He wasn't prepared for that discussion because he's not used. He doesn't really do that type of thing. He has had interviews in the past, but it's not as built up like Abba does it. You see all that, like, I feel type of thing. That's why there's all that going on right there. So Stevie was going more off the dome. Abba, he had, notes taken down, and I think I also said it probably felt a little bit disingenuous just because, Abba had notes. But if you're having a debate or an interview, it's what's going on? I know it's Friday, but god dang. But anyways, I know it's an interview and stuff, and it's a debate. That's kind of like what you're supposed to do. Come with some information, so in case somebody debunks a certain statement or whatever, you can have like a rebuttal.
Somebody Google it in the chat. I don't even need to look up the stat. Every motherfucker engaged in evil could burn.
During our debate, there was a discussion about school, food lunches, starvation, food insecurity. Stevie and Kirk were constantly making this point that, like, kids are not starving, so we don't need these free lunches in school. There's other ways for the kids to get food. Okay, that's pretty much the general gist of it. I try to explain that, like, not everyone has good parents. Food stamps are not always accessible. 7-year-old can't apply for food stamps. Stevie's like, listen, it's not a real problem. Kids are not emaciated, dying on the side of the street. And he harps on the fact that during the debate, Stevie himself was talking about starvation, like third world starvation, like kids, skinny bones, big belly, dying,
Dog, this isn't fucking People, it's not a famish going on. People are not dying because
No, they're not dying, but
famish.
I was talking about that. You were talking about a different problem that's less serious. And it's kind of disingenuous of you, Abba, to misrepresent me.
We can't be switching words out now, man. Food insecurity is entirely different than starving. That was the question posed in that debate with Kirk.
Now, here's where I'll be accountable. Shouldn't have used the word starvation.
You know, food insecure. I think food insecure. Yeah, they can have different meanings, but they also fall almost under the same term. I think, anyways, because if you don't have enough money, you're gonna be hungry. If you don't know where to go to get food, you're gonna be hungry. If you can't get food stamps, you're gonna be hungry, regardless if you're homeless or not. You know, so I think in Stevie's case, that was a bad. It was a bad rebuttal because you have to, and I don't think he looked at it, or he won't even look at it from a place of being genuine, trying to see it from the other person's perspective of how that could be. Like, why is this happening, or what can this person do, or whatever, to get to where they're supposed to go, as far as like getting the resources needed so they don't necessarily go hungry. At least maybe they'll get 3 meals a day.
I was talking, man. Even though us in colloquial terms, be like, yo, I'm starving today. I need to eat. In a discussion, you should define terms. That's my fault.
You also gave yourself a 3 out of 10.
For the debate performance?
Yes.
Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes. What I don't like is this very bad faith interpretation on his behalf. When him and Kirk argue against school lunches, them talking about starvation, these programs were never implemented to stop famine. They were not put in place so that kids were about to die on the side of the street and like, hey, here's a little sandwich at lunchtime. They were put in place to combat malnutrition because a lot of folks who didn't have access to food would show up, not eat, and their performance levels at school were bad. They couldn't pay attention. That's what the program's about. I personally think it's incredibly bad faith to come to a debate about a topic, about a policy, and argue against something that's never intended for. And throughout the debate with him too, I mentioned it. If you just Google it, it's like so many kids today here in America, you could look it up, the statistics, that have malnutrition, that have food scarcity, that have all these problems. It stunts their growth. It fucks them up in terms of their academic success. If we were talking about kids dying on the side of the street, why the f would I be talking about the fact that they won't get a good grade, and who cares? If we were talking about something that was terminal, I think I'd probably be like, how do we save these kids from dying?
I understand what you're trying to say. What I don't understand is why the f are we debating school lunches?
Sure.
Like you're trying to make a whole point about, You know,
you're shitty parents. I get it, dog. This life. Life is fucking hard, dog. And some children are born in fucked up circumstances, bro. It is what it is.
Yeah, but
no school lunches. What? Why do you go against that?
I know.
That's the debate.
Y'all don't want to give that to kids, but prisoners get it, military members get it, a whole bunch of different adults get it. Also, aren't we a first world country? Like, just because we're not dealing with third world country problems, don't we solve them all the time? It's like saying, yo, we don't need to make our roads better because we don't have dirt roads like third world country.
Show me a single child in America going hungry. Doesn't exist.
That's just not true.
We have a child obesity problem, not a child starvation problem in this country.
I don't understand this thing where it's like, it has to be one or the other. You know, you can have rich and poor people, you can have educated people, and Stevie Knight. Both of those things can all coexist like that.
Americans don't know what starving is. We don't know what starving is, man. But, I see what he's doing here. He's playing semantics and moving the goalpost with this conversation, bro.
I love how you accuse me of playing semantics.
A lot of people do know what starving is. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he hasn't starved, but maybe he hasn't gone hungry. There are plenty of people out here who say, I went 2-3 days without eating at a time during a certain period in time. Within whatever it may be, it'd be a 6 month or a year or 2 years. They went a few days without eating because they couldn't afford it. They know what it's like to starve. They know what it's like to be hungry. If you don't know what it's like to be hungry, then, hey, Good for you. You're lucky. You didn't have to experience that.
That's what
He spent 13 minutes talking about starvation versus food insecurity and not getting enough meals.
That's comedy gold right there.
If you talk like that about kids not having access to food, is it any wonder why people think you guys are monsters?
Bruh, here we go, bro. He taking me out of context again. See, Abba ain't shit. He ain't shit.
Every time someone's too stupid to enunciate their own point, they always say I was taken out of context. No, you just don't know how to communicate. Maybe if you got a school lunch every time in the 3rd grade, you'd be able to read, speak, and think past a 4th grade level. Maybe. I think you needed them school lunches, Stevie. I was taken out of context. After a while, is it people taking you out of context or you don't know how to communicate? I'm just asking. The thing you're going to know, he's a big-time fence sitter. He just won't take a stance. Throughout the whole thing, he's like, I don't care. I ain't pro-life. I ain't pro-choice. I don't care if the kids get the food, but I'm a capitalist. I'm against government handouts. I don't want the government to come save the world, but I don't care if they pass a program. If it happens, it happens. It's like probably anti-abortion. Am I right?
No,
Yeah. And I think I'll take Stevie's side. And it's because Stevie wants to be a little bit more in the middle. Maybe a little bit more in the middle. I don't know how much more in the middle. But even though he says he doesn't care, he don't give a F about it, whatever, you can tell he's leaning more one way than the other way.
no, I could care less. I'm not pro. I'm not anti. I respect this. I don't agree with it. Like,
But you want the government to get involved and stop abortions.
I never said I don't give a fuck about what anybody does with abortion.
But did you say it's a bigger problem?
Yes, there's a bigger problem, but I didn't give a solution to it. I know it's a problem. But I never said what I'm gonna do about it. I could care less. Like, it is what it is, dog. This life. Life is fucking hard, dog. And some children are born in fucked up circumstances, bro.
You want this?
I never said want. I said these resources are available to them.
But that's what your solution is, right? You're
That's
fine.
not my solution.
And I mean, right here is, and this is why a lot of people believe Stevie lost the argument or the debate, because he wasn't coming from a place where I don't think he was ready to, really listen, or maybe he came into that atmosphere like he was ready to listen and ready to give his points or perspectives or point of view or whatever that case may be. But as the interview went on, you can tell he got more and more into his feelings, and his whatever points he was trying to make, he wasn't making any points. If Abba probably came with a different tone, with some of the direction of the conversation, it probably could have been switched to where he probably could have persuaded Stevie, or gave him, a minute to think about what he was going to say next. But it just didn't happen that way.
But he did a more recent video, one that you haven't seen. Because he got a lot of backlash after he put out this video. His own fans were turning on him like, yo, Stevie, you were bugging. You were being hyper emotional.
Oh, no,
the comment section
was
flaming him. Titled, Am I Sellout to Black People?
Bootlicker, coon, coconut, sellout. As of this whole Kirk situation, bro, these labels have been flying at your boy. Black man with more of a conservative take on things, like thinking black people need to be a monolith. Like, all black people need to look the same and feel the same and view things the same.
Sure, but that's not the case right now. That's not the reason why. I understand what you're saying, but that's not what's happening.
Black man with more of a conservative take, black culture is going to despise.
This idea that black folks are somehow incredibly liberal, and that's not true. A lot of social issues relating to transness, gay marriage. There's no group that's more against it than black folks in the USA. The highest religious group in the USA is also black folks by percentage. I think people believe that either because they're never around black folks or know nothing about them. They think that how people vote maps on one-to-one with what their values are, and that's just not true.
Regardless of what it is that I'm saying, for people to view me and judge me on what I'm saying based on my skin tone.
They call you a sellout because of the kind of shit you produce. You're not even presenting their arguments of why they think you're a sellout. I want you guys to go to his channel, Night Talk. Go to the search button. Not my feelings. Facts. Search the word black. See how many videos this guy makes shitting on black people and black culture. Now, I did take the time to click on a lot of these videos just to make sure, but let's look at some of these titles. I hate black people, and he agrees with them for a lot of the video. Black people are sick of black people. Dear black people, you suck. Black men don't date black women. Black people don't want to hear this.
I mean, hey, some of this is kind of some, damning evidence, whether he likes it or not, whether Stevie likes it or not. I want to know what he's going to say in his video. I'm gonna have to do a blind reaction to it because I gotta find out what he's going to say. How is he going to defend himself into this unknown beef? I did not expect to happen because I watch Abba preach. I've literally just did a video, reacted to Abba preach, going at the Hodge twins. I've reacted to Stevie Knight's videos a few times, and there's a lot of things that I don't agree with what Stevie says, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Same thing with Abba preach, but right now Abba, he cooking.
Black men date white women. Shout out to, because he's dating a white woman. He's got a complex. He's a little bit, insecure about that. He does get comments though, so I get it. Black Lives Matter 2.0. I hate black women. Black people have to stop being victims. She told white people she told white people to stay out of the Black Panther. Okay, so it's still critiquing a black person on behalf of white people. This makes black women look so bad. And you gotta appreciate the hypocrisy. They'll be like, oh my God, these people think about race way too much, and they make that much amount of content about black people. Now flip it. Put in the word white. You will not find a single video, even though there's mass shootings, even though just recently there was a guy who ran up on that church and blasted a bunch of people, a MAGA guy. He hasn't covered it. Will he ever talk about any of these topics that plague certain communities? No. Now, you might say, but asymmetry is not necessarily a bad thing. And I agree. Sometimes you might have an asymmetry in the kind of things you make because you have more proximity to something. Fair. Do you do so in a nuanced way? Other communities have this, that. No, you don't contextualize it. You just be like, they're bad, they're bad, they're bad. And then let's go to your audience. Why are they there? Why do you have so many people being like, fuck yeah, Stevie, you're based? Stevie tried one time. Stevie made a video about Nick Fuentes talking crazy about black folks.
Well, I guess Nick Fuentes, he's on another racist tangent. But with that, I'm in agreement with a lot of things that he said outside of the generalization of black folk, because your boy got some ghetto fatigue.
That video is one of his most disliked videos. Mm-hmm. And he hasn't talked about the criticism he got in that video. He hasn't talked about the backlash. He didn't make a follow-up on that one. His audience was shitting on him en masse. Why? Because they're like, yo, Nick Fuentes is big.
Truthfully, I don't know where to go from here for this video. I'm going to end it there, for the most part. I want to see what Stevie's response is. I've made my, couple videos where I had the black fatigue thing going on, where I've done that. I've done the little white thing, with the whole Charlie Kirk thing and, the whole Tyler Robinson. But I don't think for the most part, anyways, not to my recollection, I don't talk that much about race or that much. I could be wrong. All right, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. All right, but hopefully I try to keep it even for the most part. All right, so I mean, I'm gonna have a video up soon, blind reacting to what Stevie Knight says, and that will be coming. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. Hit that like button, comment down below, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I will see you guys in the next episode. And guess what? If you're not there, then you are square. So till next time, peace.
Turn his TV off, turn his TV off, turn his TV off, turn his TV off.